Welcome back to the Mountain Morning Show. I'm joined by Travis McGhee of FuturesANIMal. Hello.
Happy
New Year to you.
Yeah, same to you.
Yeah, it's good to have you here because as we get to the new year, we start. I know that most people, they say it's on average about, it's over 50% of Americans make New Year's resolutions. Many of them are to get healthy, and in fact, that's the number one, is actually to lose weight specifically. Number 4 was to get healthy. Number 3 was actually saving money and spending better. So it seems that we think about money clearly, but one of the things that we probably don't do with money that we do with exercise is that we think about how much time we'll have to put into it.
Right.
And sometimes we neglect maybe putting in the kind of time we need to with money.
Right. No, you're absolutely right. People certainly put a lot more effort into their New Year's resolutions when it comes to weight and eating healthy, and I mean, we all do that. I do that, and you know, it's certainly you want to be healthy, you know, mentally and physically and spiritually, and you know, have all of that work together. How many people? I'd love to see a statistic on how many people actually follow through and keep that through the.
On the number one is 95% fail.
95%.
95% fail in losing weight.
Yeah. So as far as I'm actually interested to hear that it's surprising that number 3 is saving, but I guess what I find with that is there are a lot of people who obviously want to save money. They want to spend money more efficiently and be much more frugal. And certainly we make a lot of resolutions around that. But when you talk about saving money, you know, what are you doing to save money, or what are you doing with that money that you have saved? Where are you putting that money?
Yeah,
what
type
are the
of specifics?
Plan? Right, and that's where people get hung up quite a bit, is they don't have that plan after they've saved the money of what they're going to do with it moving forward. And that's, you know, this time of year, that's what we're helping a lot of people with, is understanding where they're at financially heading into 2014 and how to get them to where they want to be, whether it's the end of this year, 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, so on and so forth. So it's all about developing a plan and remaining disciplined with that plan, not falling off the tracks like you do with your weight plan or your workout plan or whatever the case may be.
And putting in the time daily to understand where you are every day of that investment.
It takes time and effort, just like dieting, just like working out. At times it can be painful, at times it can be uncomfortable, but it takes time and effort. It's not something that you can just simply walk into and be 100% successful at.
Right.
And just, you know, and think that it requires very little attention. You know, quite the contrary. It actually requires quite a bit of attention. That's not to say that you necessarily have to be hanging over your investment portfolio on a daily basis, making changes, modifying this and that, but there's no reason that average everyday individuals cannot just have a basic fundamental understanding of what's going on in the world, what's going on in the markets.
An awareness, if you will.
An awareness, whether it's turning on the television, whether it's bringing up a internet financial station or a blog, or if it's picking up a Wall Street Journal or the Salt Lake Tribune or whatever the case may be, just educating yourself a little bit about what's going on in the market. Because if you understand what's going on in the market, you can better develop that plan for investing in today's market.
The other part of this, obviously, is assessing where you are personally as far as your hopes, dreams, your goals, and of course tailoring this to match that.
Yeah, you know, exactly. And again, that all boils back to, you know, having a plan and having a plan that works for you. What I've seen quite a bit is people tend to follow plans that their friends have, or their father-in-law has, or their brother's doing, or something like that, following their plan, or going out and buying a stock because your buddy bought it and said he made a lot of money on it, so on and so forth. That's where people tend to get themselves in a problem, because that person's situation is not necessarily your situation. They may be very comfortable with accepting more risk in the market than you are comfortable with accepting risk in the market.
So they have different goals.
And they have different goals. They absolutely have different goals. So you have to cater a plan that works for you, whether it's investing more aggressively, investing in a more conservative fashion. Maybe if you're really in tune with the market and you're looking to actually trade the market on a daily basis and be a so-called day trader, maybe that works for you. But again, you've got to understand where you fit into the picture and develop a plan around that.
Well, and this brings us to probably the most compelling point you've ever made for me, and that is that these investments that we should be looking at should be ones that we have knowledge of personally,
Right.
not just trusting our investor for those
Exactly.
choices.
And that's not to say that there's anything wrong in the world with a financial advisor. Actually,
Of course not.
They serve a purpose.
It's
absolutely.
integral to this.
Absolutely integral to have a professional there helping you understand where to go and what to do. But that is not a reason or an excuse to simply take a 100% hands-off approach
Right.
and push the money over and say,
Yeah.
just do with it what you want to do with it.
I equate it to the self-driving car. We're not going to be really anxious right out of the gate to sit in that thing and let it drive us. We're
Right.
going to want to see what's going on. We're going to want to know where we're going and how we're getting there.
We take it upon ourselves at my firm. We are very aggressive in having our clients understand exactly what it is that they're investing in. We're not just simply investing and then calling them and saying, well, this is what you did for the month. You're not really going to understand what's in there, but this is what you did for the month.
Yeah.
We want you to understand exactly what's in there. And every investor, absolutely 100%, should understand what they're investing in. If you don't understand what you're invested in, that means that you have a lack of knowledge with what you have. And by having a lack of knowledge, you have risk that you can't control. A
Right.
lack of knowledge is risk. And when you can't control risk, it makes it very hard to be successful in the market.
One of my favorite money people and authors, Donnie Deutsch, his rule number one investing is, don't lose money, which obviously would be great if we could always do that. But the thing that he discussed in detail in that book was the fact that you should be doing the research in addition to what your investor does to help you, your advisor. You should be doing the research to know who you're investing in and what it's all about, especially when it comes to stocks.
Right, but because by doing the research and understanding what you're invested in, you can ask the right questions the next time you do meet with your advisor,
Right.
rather than walking in and just looking at a financial statement or sitting down and for them to say, okay, this is where you're at this month, and then you're like, okay, well, that's great, and you walk out, and you're not going to ask any questions at that point.
Yeah,
in
you
time.
don't know where you're headed.
But when you come back in and your advisor says, well, we didn't do so well this month, we were down 8%, then you're going to say, well, I don't understand why. Why were you? So you have to understand exactly what it is that you're holding inside of that portfolio. Again, whether you're doing it yourself or whether you have it with a financial advisor, you have to make the effort to understand what you're invested in.
This brings us to an interesting question too, and kind of here in closing, that a lot of people would ask immediately. I know that if you were at home and you were sitting here in this seat, the thing you'd probably want to ask is, well, tell us what the hot ticket is right now. There isn't necessarily always something like that, is there? There's certainly some things that are that are percolating, things that we should maybe look at coming up, but there's really, we've talked about this a lot of times. We're not trying to hit the home run here. We're trying to get a lot of good base hits.
Right. There are always opportunities in the market, and a financial advisor can certainly help you find where those opportunities are and which opportunities are going to fit within your investment
it's part
profile.
of the framework.
Exactly, because there's a lot of opportunities that may be nice opportunities, but they might not necessarily work for you, whether it's a time frame thing or whether it's a risk type of situation. But
it's kind of outside of the boiler room idea. We don't want the investment that an advisor is calling everybody about because it's the thing right now. That takes us right back to where people got hurt back in just a couple of years ago with that kind of mentality.
Absolutely, and you brought up a great point. Especially, and I would be willing to bet the majority of the folks watching are more longer term oriented investors.
One would hope.
They're looking 5, 10, 15 years down the road.
Sure.
They're looking for long-term wealth generation. For those type of individuals, you're exactly right. It's about, you want to hit base hits. You want to consistently make money in the market over a period of time.
Outperform a little bit.
You're not looking to take 90% of your portfolio and put it into a stock or a sector that you're looking to just hit a home run with. That's where a lot of people end up getting themselves in a pretty bad position.
Right.
So, you want to make sure that you're consistent, you're diversified, and you're making money in a consistent fashion.
Well, getting this knowledge, getting diversified, and all of that starts again with sitting down and coming up with a nice new plan for the new year. And of course, one of the places you can do that is, of course, FuturesANIMal.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. The website?
Thanks, Joe. FuturesANIMal.com. Give us a call.
All right. Well, we will be back with more right here on the Mountain Morning Show after this.